All right, today we are uncorking a true hidden gem from the Roussillon region of France. It's a wine that's just steeped in history, born from a landscape that is, well, it's nothing short of dramatic. So get ready, let's discover Banyuls.
And that quote really just hits the nail on the head. This isn't just something you drink. It's like a liquid postcard from its home. It comes from this rugged, sun-drenched coast where the Pyrenees Mountains literally just plunge into the Mediterranean Sea. You can almost taste the scenery in every single sip. So that brings us to the big question, right? The one that gets everyone excited. We always hear that Banyuls is the ultimate, hands-down, perfect pairing for chocolate. But why? I mean, what is it about this specific wine that makes it such a magical match? Okay, let's get into it. First things first, let's talk about what you actually experience when you pour a glass. What makes Banyuls, well, Banyuls? Okay, so what's absolutely fascinating here is the sheer range of flavors going on. When it's young, a Banyuls just explodes with these ripe fruits. Think juicy cherries, plums, rich figs. It's so vibrant, but that's just the beginning of the story. As it gets some age on it, it starts to develop these incredible, deeper layers. Warm spices, cocoa, a little bit of coffee. And then for the really old ones, you get this unique thing called rancio. It's this amazing, complex, nutty, savory quality. You get notes of walnut, tobacco, even leather. It's a total evolution in the glass. So where does all that signature richness and sweetness come from? Well, here's the thing. It's not from adding sugar. The secret is all in this really cool, very specific winemaking technique. Banyuls is what's known as a vin doux naturel, which literally translates to naturally sweet wine. And that phrase tells you everything you need to know. The sweetness is natural, coming straight from the grapes themselves. The real trick is how the winemakers manage to keep all that beautiful sweetness in the final wine. And they do it through a process called mutage. Now, think of it like this. First, they let the grapes get super ripe on the vine, just packed with sugar. Then they start the fermentation and the yeast starts munching on that sugar, turning it into alcohol. But then they hit the pause button. At just the right moment, they add a clear grape spirit. This spikes the alcohol and the yeast just gives up. They can't work anymore. And boom, fermentation stops cold, locking in all of that delicious natural grape sugar that wasn't fermented away. That right there is the secret. But to really, truly get Banyuls, you have to understand where it comes from. That intensity you taste in the glass, it's born from an equally intense landscape, the Côte Vermeille, also known as the Vermilion Coast. So you've got this perfect storm of conditions. First, you have these insanely steep terraces made of schist. It's really poor soil, which sounds like a bad thing, but it's actually amazing. It forces the vines to struggle and dig their roots way down, which concentrates all the flavor in the grapes. Second, you have the intense Mediterranean sun, just baking those grapes, packing them with sugar. And finally, this powerful wind, the tramontane, whips through the vineyards. It keeps the grapes dry, protects them from disease, and helps concentrate the flavors even more. It's just the perfect setup. And right at the heart of all this is one grape, Grenache Noir. It isn't just an ingredient, it's the absolute soul of Banyul. I mean, the rules say it has to be at least half the blend, and for the top-tier stuff, the Grand Cru, it's got to be a whopping 75%. What makes Grenache so perfect here is its ability to just soak up all that intense sun and get incredibly ripe with sugar, but without losing its balance. That's the key to making a powerful sweet wine that isn't just sweet, but is actually complex and beautiful. And listen, this style of wine is not some modern fad. Oh no. Its story is as deep and as complex as its flavor, stretching back literally for centuries. To really appreciate it, you gotta look at its journey through time. The story goes all the way back to the Romans. They were already making these concentrated, sweet wines in the area by drying grapes out in the sun. Then, fast forward to the Middle Ages, and you've got groups like the Benedictine monks and the Knights Templar taking over, tending the vineyards and really refining the whole process. So this long, unbroken history finally leads to 1936, when Banyuls was officially granted its own appellation, which basically cemented its status as a unique and protected French treasure. Okay, so now that we know the what, the how, the where, and the why, let's get practical. How do you actually walk into a shop, pick out a bottle, and what in the world do you do with it when you get home? So when you're looking at a label, you're probably going to see one of these words. Think of this table as your personal cheat sheet. If you see Rimage, that's the youngest, freshest, fruitiest style, it's all about those bright grape notes. Traditional has a little more age, bringing in some cooked fruit and spice. Then you've got Grand Cru. This is the top stuff, aged for at least 30 months to get that deep complexity. We're talking chocolate and tobacco notes. And finally, Rancio. That's a whole special category, aged for years in a way that lets in a little oxygen, developing those incredible nutty coffee and caramel flavors we talked about earlier. And that brings us right back to where we started, chocolate. And yes, Banyuls is absolutely stunning with a piece of high-quality dark chocolate. The fruit and spice in the wine just sing with the cocoa. But please, don't stop there. It is fantastic with the salty punch of a good blue cheese, the decadent richness of foie gras, or even a simple fruit tart. And honestly, a complex, aged Banyuls is a dessert all by itself, perfect for just sipping and thinking. So I'll leave you with this final thought. In a world that's always chasing the next new thing, there is something so incredibly special about a wine like this. A wine that's a direct link to a rugged, beautiful place, and to traditions that are 2,000 years old. Maybe the truest luxury isn't what's new, but what has managed to endure. Thanks for joining me.